there's a good question. I think that first, identifying perhaps some of the misperceptions, misinformation, particularly with Korean and Black community slash Asian American and Black community. I think even, even going over the whole Black Korean conflict, what does that really mean? Perhaps maybe that may have been overblown, and I've come to that conclusion. That also, again, some of the data points, as you say, that show really that ultimately at the end of the day, the racist system doesn't discriminate who it discriminates against. And so again, where are places where we as communities of color, as immigrant communities, could stand in solidarity to pursue a brighter, bigger, better picture of a future, right? And even to share some of those success stories. And again, how can we forge forward as well? Again, there is that whole model minority myth that depicts Asian Americans, that include Korean Americans, as one that is privileged, that we're white adjacent, and as such, we don't need any kind of help. And there are particularly, between 30 to 50 groups and 100 languages under the AAPI umbrella. And so in that way, when you throw everyone in the kitchen sink who don't even share language or culture or borders, is going to really hide a lot of the subgroups that make up such a huge number. And so in the aggregate, AAPI homeownership is 61% to white homeownership of 66. So it looks like we are white adjacent. However, when you disaggregate the API groups, you'll see that Korean and Black homeownership rate is the same at 42%. And not only that, but there are 7 other API subgroups that are below the Korean and Black homeownership rate of 42%. And there's 12 API subgroups below the Hispanic homeownership rate of 48%. So that tells a very different story. And why I think that is so important are a few things. One is that, in this country, the whole concept of white supremacy plays out in a way that creates anger. And particularly because of this history of communities of color being left out, particularly in the bulk of wealth building, the bulk of middle class in the United States, they were able to build their wealth through homeownership that were funded by government subsidies, and they have consistently left out communities of color, right? And wealth, there's about a $200,000 difference in wealth between homeowners and renters. That difference in wealth can make a difference between choosing a job because you're desperate, right? Versus waiting for the right job opportunity, right? Or pursuing advanced degree for yourself or for your children, or launching a business, right? Or perhaps during a health crisis or even divorce, you have some cushion to kind of survive during that period. And so it makes a huge difference. But not only that, again, when people depict you as being white adjacent and privileged, then it breeds, I think, unnecessary resentment. And it breeds not just resentment, but I think in many ways ultimately ends up hate and violence. When in reality, as I've shared with you, that we experience a lot of the pain, the discrimination that the Black and Brown and even the Native American community has faced in this country. And so it's really an occasion for solidarity. But because of that model minority myth and, even the difference in homeownership rate, it pits us against one another, when in reality, when you look, under the, what do you call that, the hood, we're the same. We are in the same situation, facing the same crisis, same challenges, same discrimination. And we really need to be standing together again to fight that system.